Hi, I'm Mark D'Angelo, and we're here in Wyandotte, Michigan with BandDirector.com, and I'm standing here with Josh Scott, Phantom Regiment. He's in the visual staff, and he's been working with the Contras all morning. And Josh, we've been watching you work with the Contra line, and can you describe some of the concepts that you've been using and getting them to learn this? Is this a new portion of drill? Is that what they're working on?
Well, today we're just trying to get a couple new people in. We've got a new person here today that we're trying to get into the show as soon as we can, and so we've been doing a lot of set-to-set and doing a lot of things where we do a game that we call +1, -1, where they'll freeze in +1 and then we'll go back to -1. That's to give them a chance to think about what they're doing in the form and also to give them the chance to see where their +1 is and where their -1 is.
-1 being from the direction of the previous set, and +1 being in the direction towards the next set.
That's correct, yes.
Thank you.
So when you have new people show up in the middle of the season, is that kind of challenging to get them in, or does that happen pretty quick? What's the learning curve like?
It kind of depends on the kid. I actually know the guy that we're trying to get in today, and he's been around drum corps. Usually kids that have been in drum corps, it's a lot easier to get them in quicker than it is a brand new person. It just kind of depends on the kind of person that they are. So.
With you being on the visual staff, were you also a brass player when were you with the Corps?
Yeah, I marched when I was in college. I marched 2003 to 2006, and I was a euphonium player actually. So, and I've been on staff here for a few years now.
One of the things that JD was telling us about was the dynasty horns and how ergonomically they're really they work well with the body and movement. Josh, one of the things that JD was telling us about earlier with the Jupiter horns is how they ergonomically work well with the body for a lot of movement. Can you talk about the challenges with a contra and maybe some of the movement on the field, marching around and holding that horn the way that you have to?
Well, with the tubas and the contras, it's a little more difficult because it's a lot heavier and it's a little more awkward to carry for them. You know, they have it on one shoulder, and as opposed to our mellophones, trumpets, and euphoniums, they can't hold it in one hand and do some of the things that the trumpets and the mellows and euphoniums are able to do with their horns. So that always poses a little more of a challenge. It's a beast sometimes to handle and do movement with.
But it's hard to get the detail from player to player to have them be able to visually represent the motion the same way.
Yeah, that always takes detailing, and we're always working on making sure that they have the right counts and they know all of the little details that we try to throw in, so that we're very specific and they always know what's going on.
In your experience, can you talk about maybe how the marching technique has changed over the years, or from when you marched to what maybe the Phantom's doing now? They've always had more of their own unique style of marching. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I have kind of an interesting perspective. I started marching under a different caption head in 2003 and 2004, and that technique was a little more old school, I would say, in that there wasn't as much straight leg emphasis on what we do as opposed to now. And when Dwight and Jay and all of the new visual staff came in 2005, we started doing a lot more straight leg and thinking a little more differently about how we move. And then in 2007, we started to change how we jazz run. It's not so much of a plie as we really try to think about keeping the kids as tall as they can be through the jazz run, even though they're taking 4 to 5 and 5 to 5 step sizes.
What are some of the reasons behind those decisions? Do you know, or can you able to say, this is what we want to see from the Corps at large, and this is why we're using these concepts?
Right. The straight leg technique and the jazz run technique that we're using now just allows the performers to be much taller, and it makes them look bigger. Even in a larger step size, they don't look like they're sunken down or down into the ground. They're able to stay taller, and it just makes the corps look bigger.
For a lot of these kids coming from all over the country, they probably come in with a various amount of backgrounds,
right,
in terms of what type of marching they're used to. And to get them used to your program and how you guys march, what are some of the steps that you take to get them? What kind of basics do you do to get them started?
Well, we during the winter camps from November until April, we have camps once a month where we take the kids through our basic technique program and technique book, and it's a lot of step-by-step process. We start with forward and talk a lot about how we move forward and the kinds of motions they need to think about in their leg and how they lead with the heel on the forward march. It's a long process because we have kids that have been in high school marching bands, that have been in college marching bands, that have marched in other drum corps. So it's always a challenge to bring everyone in to look the same. But by the end of the season, we can always have everyone looking very uniform across the board.
Now, as a high school band director, I'm always thinking about how can I get my kids to look like the drum corps when they're marching. And the question that I'm always asking is, to what level of detail are you teaching the marching? Do you break it down by subdivisions? Is it more of a feeling based? Is it more of just you know, do what this guy's doing, imitate this? Or do you really break it down to the details of where the foot is at certain counts and subdivision wise, and how does Phantom approach that?
Well, we try to be as detailed as possible with where the heel strikes, even to the degree of how much you roll up in your foot, to control the roll up as you're going forward so you don't get an excess knee bend. We don't go down to like subdividing into 16 notes or anything like that. And I think that transferring that to a high school program, obviously a drum corps on a much larger scale and has much more time to devote to those kinds of things, that you can only take so much from that to try and apply to a high school program. As being a high school band director myself, I try to do some of the things we do here, but on a lesser level because we have such time constraints with what we do.
With your high school program, where are you teaching?
I teach in Jeffersonville, Indiana. It's just north of Louisville, Kentucky.
And with that program, you still have a heavy emphasis on the basics and the fundamentals.
Yeah, we
realize that the importance of that from what you're doing here.
Right, and you know, I think it's important, and sometimes it's neglected sometimes in a high school program, neglecting those basic things. And if they don't understand how to move and what the process is of doing that, then it makes it a lot harder throughout the season to continue learning things and pushing them further. So I think taking programs steps ahead, you have to build that basic fundamental foundation.
Excellent. Very good. Well, thanks a lot, Josh. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.